On Friday, June the 24th, 2022, the Supreme Court made its decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Since January the 22nd, 1973, 63 million unborn babies have lost their lives because their constitutional rights of life and liberty were taken from them. You need to understand this landmark decision and how it impacts our nation. First of all, it corrects the national deception that abortion is a constitutional right. Number two, it returns the issue of abortion to the people and to the states and its elected representatives. Number three, it reaffirms the sanctity of life and the constitutional rights of the unborn. Number four, secures the blessings of liberty for ourselves and our posterity. When you begin reading the Constitution, it begins with the preamble. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. And who is our posterity if not our unborn children? While in prayer, I asked the Father yesterday, what now for our nation after the overturning of Roe v. Wade? I'm not a prophet, but I will tell you what my impression was and what I felt leap inside of me, and it is this. We know that a tsunami in the Atlantic or the Pacific Ocean is caused when there's an earthquake. Under the water, deep down, there can be an earthquake, and it causes a displacement of water, which causes the water to rise, a tsunami that can flood coastal cities. It's caused by a displacement. And I believe that this earthquake that has hit our nation has the potential to cause a wave of righteousness to sweep across our nation. A wave because of this stand that we've taken, and it's caused a displacement. 26 states now have trigger laws in place ready to go. 26 states, over half of our states, immediately stepped up and said, we're pro-life, and we want to protect these unborn babies. So today, let us declare a wave of righteousness in order to secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. We do once again ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. We stand with this document that declares liberty and life and justice for all people, the unborn, all the way to death. How many believes that it's time to restore the constitutional rights of our unborn children? A tsunami of righteousness. Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 11 through 20, and for the sake of time, I won't read that, but you remember the story. God comes before Israel and says to them, I set before you life and death. I set before you life and prosperity, death and destruction. And he says, choose life. Give me the opportunity to bless you and to bless your children. Let me help you. The key verse in that chapter is verse 19. He said to Israel, this day I call the heavens and the earth as witnesses against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life so that you and your children may live. And on Friday, June the 24th, 2022, America chose life. So we have to talk about life after Roe v. Wade. Again, verse 19. He said, I set before you life, blessings, so you can live. Notice that. Life, blessings, so you can live. So I'm encouraging you to choose life. Make a choice. make the hard choice. Sometimes the choice that's not popular. And you have to know, now listen to me, the right choice releases the spirit of life over our nation. We're all concerned about the violence in our streets, the violence in our homes, in our schools. We're all concerned about the death rate. We're all concerned about crime. We're all concerned about these things. But you have to understand that we have to make the right choices. And when we do what's right, he said it will go well with you. By making the right choice, we release the spirit of life over our nation. There were three things that God said to Israel. He spoke to them about the reviving of their nation. I know that because he said, I set before you life. And that word life in the Hebrew means living, reviving, revival. Now, this I saw after prayer when I had that impression of a wave rising and getting ready to sweep across America, a wave of righteousness, of making the right decisions, a wave of righteousness, life, revival. We have the opportunity with this to continue on with standing for our Constitution and to stand for life and liberty and justice for all. We have this opportunity, and it can bring about a revival of righteousness in our land. He set before Israel blessings. This speaks to the prosperity of our people because the word blessings here in the Hebrew means prosperity. Again, a moment ago in receiving the tithes and offerings, I spoke to you about the life-activating principle that when you do what's right, when you make right decisions, prosperity will find you. He said, I set before you life. I set before you blessings or prosperity. So make the right choice. Do what's right every day of your life and watch prosperity find you. It's a principle that we live with in business. How many knows if you just treat your customers right, your customers will come back? Just do what's right. Do the right thing. Make it right by your customers, and your customers will be loyal to you. It's a life-activating principle. And we in this nation right now are on the threshold, I believe, of a great wave of righteousness that can sweep across this land if we'll just continue doing what's right. We're concerned about inflation and the price of fuel. Well, just do what's right, America. Do what's right. Stand up for righteousness and do what's right. And watch prosperity sweep across this nation. I know the government's trying to figure this out. Well, listen, I got a word for the government. Just do what's right. Do what's right by your neighbor. Do what's right by the citizens. Do what's right. Do what's right and watch prosperity ring across this nation. He said to Israel, I set before you life and blessings so that you can live. He spoke to them about the preservation of our way of life. The word live here in the Hebrew means to restore to life, to continue, to remain, or preserve life. To preserve something, to preserve life. We remember when Benjamin Franklin walked out of that convention, a man asked him, what do we have? He said, a republic, if you can keep it. A republic, this great experiment, a republic, if you can keep this thing. He knew it would be a challenge, and it still is a challenge today. A democratic republic to preserve that way of life. In Deuteronomy chapter 30 and verse 20, he said, for the Lord is your life, and he will give you many years in the land he swore to give to your fathers. For the Lord is your life. He's your life. Acts. In him we live and we move and we have our very existence. In him, he is our life. Democracy in America by Tocqueville, 1831 to 1832. He toured America to try to figure out the greatness of America. And he came to the conclusion that the greatness of America was found in her churches and in her pulpits. And he said this: America is great because America is good. And if America ever ceases to be good, America ceases to be great. To do what's right, to be good. George Washington's first inaugural address, he said, "And since the preservation of the sacred fire of liberty and the destiny of the Republican model of government are justly considered as deeply, perhaps as finally staked on the experiment entrusted to the hands of the American people. This great experiment is in your hands. In your hands. This great experiment that we call America." Tocqueville said, "America ceases to be great when she ceases to be good." So my word to America, on the eve of the overturning of Roe versus Wade, I would say to America, America, be good. Just be good. We look for the answers to our economy. We look for the answers to our schools, our education. We look for the answers to our neighborhoods and our cities. We look for the answers to racism and violence. We look for the answers. And I would just simply be good, America. Just be good. And greatness will find you. The Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths, these life-activating principles, these life-activating truths. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain and unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These truths that we hold so dear, and if we hold them close to our hearts, and we stand for life and liberty in the pursuit of happiness, if we defend life in the womb and outside the womb, if we stand for justice, then greatness will find us. As America returns to her divinely inspired place as one nation under God, she will continue to experience the blessings of liberty. That's the life after Roe v. Wade, the blessings of liberty. There are 4 documents that this nation is founded upon: the Mayflower Compact, the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. We always seem to overlook that Mayflower Compact. And as those early pilgrims sat down on that ship, before they would put a foot on the soil of this newfound land, this place of promises, they sat down and wrote that compact. And it begins with those 6 words: in the name of God, or 5 words, amen. In the name of God, amen. Listen, they understood that everything began with that. In the name of God. Everything begins and ends with that. And if we would hold these truths dear to our heart, if we would come back to one nation under God, not my theology, not your theology, but Judeo-Christian values. Understand that this nation was founded upon and it survives upon Judeo-Christian values. That is the greatness of this land. That's how we started, and that's how we must end this thing. We must return to those Judeo-Christian values and hold those truths dear to our hearts, that we understand that government must never intrude upon church. There must be a separation of government and church, that the church has to be protected from governmental intrusion. But he never meant it. Jefferson never meant it. When he wrote to the Danbury Baptist Association, he never meant to say that the government must be protected from God. They understood that it's one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have to stand for those truths. We have to stand for the rights, the constitutional rights of the unborn child, and let it go back to the states, to the people, to their elected officials. Let them decide there. But I look forward to the day when abortion is completely abolished from this great land. But until then, it's back in the hands of the people. And I would say to the people, Tocqueville discovered America's greatness was found in her churches and in her pulpits. And he said, when America ceases to be good, America ceases to be great. And so I would say to America, America, just be good.